Değerli konuklar, bugünkü seminere hoş geldiniz. Konuğumuz Indiana Üniversitesi, Purdue Üniversitesi'de benimle birlikte çalıştığım ve benim dekanım olarak uzun yıllar dekanım olarak çalışan Sayın Profesör Doktor Öner Yurtseven konuşmacımız. Konusu da mühendislik eğitiminin geleceği konusu ki bu daha iki hafta önce veya 2-3 hafta önce Atılım Üniversitesi olarak bu konuda bir konferans düzenledik ve bu konferansa birçok yurt dışından eğitimciler geldiler ve Atılım Üniversitesi'nden katılanlar ve Türkiye'de katılan eğitimciler bulundu. Bu konu aslında çok işlenen bir konu ve bizi de ilgilendiren bir konu. Mühendislik eğitimi ne olmalı? 2020'nin mühendisleri nasıl niteliklere sahip olmalı? Bu konular her dalda konuşulmakta ve ayrıca mühendisliği akredite eden kurullar tarafından da konuşulmakta, incelenmekte. Ben biraz da Öner Bey ile ilgili bilgi vermek istiyorum. Dediğim gibi Öner Bey benim çalıştığım üniversitede mühendislik fakültesinin dekanıydı. 14 yıl dekan olarak çalıştı. Ben de o üniversitede uzun yıllar çalıştım. O zaman ben de onun bölüm başkanı olarak, dekan yardımcısı olarak da çalışmış bulunuyorum. Eğitim konusunda, mühendislik eğitimi konusunda ve yönetiminde, idareci olarak çok tecrübesi olan bir kişi. Onun tecrübelerinden bugün yararlanacağımız için çok mutluyum. Bir de belirtmek istediğim bir konuda Öner Bey bir fakültenin adı, çalıştığı fakültenin adı Mühendislik ve Teknoloji Fakültesiydi. Yani teknoloji bölümleri ve işte programları ve mühendislik programlarının aynı fakültede olan bir kuruluştu. Bu Amerika'da da ender rastlanan bir program. Çoğu programlar ya teknoloji ayrı bir fakülte oluyor, mühendislik ayrı bir fakülte oluyor. Bazılarınız bilirsiniz, mühendislerle teknolojistler ayrı kültürlere sahiptiler ve bu iki kültürü de çok güzel bir şekilde idare edebilmiş bir kişidir. Aslında bu da bir büyük başarı sayılıyor Amerika'da. Daha fazla konuşmamı uzatmadan önce Öner Bey'i kürsüye davet ediyorum.
Çok teşekkür ederim davetiniz için ve geldiğiniz için. Hasan hocamın dediği gibi yıllarca beraberdik. Biz hatta öğrenciler karıştırırlardı bizi. İkimizin de gözlüğü var şu anda. Ben gözlük kullanmazdım bir ara. Saçlarımızı da neredeyse yakın birbirine hem kesim olarak hem boy, renk olarak. Bu yüzden bir hayli kardeşlik yapardı, çıkardı öğrenciler arasında. Üniversitede diğer bölümlerden kimseler bizi karıştırırlardı. Tabii benim avantajıma olmaktaydı bu çünkü avantajım olmamaktaydı çünkü öğrenciler Hasan Bey'i çok sıkı bir öğretim olarak bilirler çünkü standartları çok yüksektir Hasan Bey'in. Bana gelip şikayet ederlerdi. Hocam siz niye bu kadar sertsiniz diye. Ben Hasan Hoca olmadığımı anlatınca böyle memnun bir şekilde gülerek ayrılırlardı oradan. İşte Hasan Bey emekli olduktan sonra dedim bir 5 ay daha meydan bana kaldı orada. Kimse şey yapmaz, karıştırmaz diye. Ben özür dilerim. Türkçem pek şey değil, iyi değil, kuvvetli değil. Ne zaman gelsem Ankara'ya annemleri ziyarete, kız kardeşlerim hep şikayet ederler Türkçemden. Onun için izin verirseniz İngilizce vereceğim bu konuşmayı. What I did, I divided my talk into about 3 groups. What is engineering now in the US, and then how US sees future of engineering. There's an Academy of Engineering in the US. And then I will talk about ABET, which is accreditation body for US. There is, I understand, there's a MÜDEK here in Turkey, which is recognized by ABET. And then how ABET process can help change, improve engineering education. In US, people in general, public, really do not understand what engineers do. They don't know what engineering is. There's a great confusion about science, engineering, and technology. These terms are interchangeably used. And society does not view engineering very well. Engineers are not prestigious professions in the US. You can tell from the TV programs that many TV series are about policemen, about lawyers, about doctors, nurses, but you can barely find any character where main character is engineer. And CSI perhaps is the closest one. There are scientists solving crimes. Whenever I talk about engineering, I would like to make a distinction between science, engineering, and technology. So this is very general definition of their common characters, but using the famous Venn diagram that all engineers know, technology is really the largest set. You can see the white set there. And engineering is subset of technology. But science is not subset. Science is different because it's connected to nature. And of course, engineering science is between engineering and science. So this is definition of technology in both terms. And the distinction is that technology really deals with things rather than with ideas. For example, mathematics and religion and other studies deal with ideas, and technology is really materials. Science has connection to nature because scientists like physicists, biologists, chemists, they observe the nature and they try to explain it, and they go back and do experiments, and that determines science. Engineering has a number of definitions. When we talk to the general public about engineering, we try to tell them that everything that they hear about design, research, development, manufacturing, testing, engineers have something to do with that. The second definition is quite accurate in my opinion, and I usually stress the 2 words there, wealth creation and improving quality of life. Engineers really, wherever engineers go, they create wealth because they build factories, they build devices, and then a lot of people are employed. And they are also improving quality of life because this is where we are now, perhaps heated or air-conditioned place with lights and computers, and that's due to engineers, of course. But another definition talks about constraints, and engineers, as we know, especially the ones who practice in the industry, they have to do things in a short time with limited resources. And the only engineers who have the luxury of research with a lot of money is NASA engineers, probably in the US, and their budget is being cut every year. And the next one is the official definition by ABET. And as you see here, it says that engineering education has math, science, and laboratory experience in it. And then it is geared for mankind. This is very common in the US. And over the years I thought about, because if you, I'm sure you have listened to some of the folk songs in American culture, the blues and the gospel. Engineer is the person who operates a train. And I think the confusion comes because the word engine and engineer come from the same root. That's not the case in many languages. So people do not make connection between engine and engineers. Actually, the word comes from Latin, ingeniator, which means ingenious. And my brief research indicated that during the Roman Empire, when the Roman Empire was invading Anatolia, north parts of Europe, of course, North Africa, they would send a group of people who would open roads, build bridges, clear forests so that the armies can come and move easily. And these people have to be very smart, very quick, and hands-on. So they call them engineers, ingenious people. And as engineers, we are ingenious people. And I notice that we have some young students here. And they should know that by the time they become engineers, they will be genius also. They are halfway there. Let me give you a little background about the size of engineering education in US. These are the last official numbers from fall 2008. About 400,000 students study in engineering in the US. And this number is quite small as you look at the size of US and the size of its technology. And 1/5 of that is roughly MS students, and 1/7 is the PhD students. And I did not list all the programs, but the primary ones, big ones, are electric, computer, mechanical, and emerging one is biomedical. One reason I did not include the others is that in our school we do not have other engineering areas like you have here at Atılım. And if you look at the number of degrees that the US universities generate, there are about 3,000 colleges in the US, higher education institutions. Out of those, about 350 have engineering programs. 77,000 bachelor's degrees every year, and 40,000 master's, and about 9,000 PhDs. This is really small, again, compared to European Union or parts of Asia, China, and India. By field, I'm sure you can guess that electrical, mechanical are the largest ones, and then the others. But biomedical is very fast growing in the US, and that's usually connected with medical schools. If there's a medical school where engineering is, that works quite well together. There are about 2.4, 2.5 million people in the US. They call themselves engineers, they have engineering degrees. This is about roughly 1 out of 100, 150 people. So this is really a minority, almost like a special club. And surprisingly, 77% of those engineers, they have only BS degrees. And 20% go for masters and 3% for BS. And the reason for that is, in US, one can make a good living with BS degree only in engineering, not in other areas, but in engineering. For example, I looked at the BS degrees, 4-year degrees, people are working with those only. As you can see, computer science and engineering are the top ones, and if you go to other social sciences like psychology, education, it is not possible to make a living with a 4-year degree only. So those professions go to master's and PhD degrees, or they combine other degrees with what they have. US has critical shortage of engineers. You may read or hear saying that no, we have enough, but we are not using them properly. But every year, only 77,000 graduate, and they import about 120,000 engineers and scientists from different countries. And I'm one of those who went many years ago. Europe produces twice the number of engineers, and of course Asia 5-6 times. Less than 2% of high school graduates will go to engineering because they don't have enough physics, math, chemistry background. As seniors, they cannot go to engineering, they cannot study engineering. And over the years, I have been giving Turkey as a great example where all talented engineers, students from high school, high GPAs, they go to engineering. And I understand that that has been tradition, but last few years the trend is a bit changing. Some of the students go to law or medicine for a variety of reasons. And again, less than 15% of high school students have enough math in the US. Of course, there are many reasons. One is engineering is very challenging. And in US universities, there are a lot of universities where people party over the weekend, and liberal arts graduates and other majors can do, but engineers cannot afford doing that. Middle and high school preparations are a problem. There are not enough demand engineers. The ceiling is at 20% right now in engineering. US has not been able to go over that 20%. Minorities are only 5-6%. And because there are not enough role models, US students do not see even faculty members in their classes, or African American or Hispanic faculty members. And the last one is the image. I think engineers really do not have a positive image in US, partly ignorance of the general public. Now I would like to switch gears and give a summary of what Academy of Engineering has been doing in the US. This is a group of very distinguished engineering educators and industry representatives. They form an academy. It's in Washington, D.C. And they meet and they talk about engineering education, engineering profession. Since 2002, they have been writing reports, meeting, inviting a lot of people to talk. And they came up with a document saying that what kind of engineers should we graduate by 2020. And they went to all universities, they went to industry, they went to governments, they went to every possible place. And they say that future of engineering has new technologies planned. Population shifts are going to be important. Economy is changing, and new areas are getting developed. And they claim that it is going to be a must degree for 21st century. In the US, in the old days, everybody would try to get liberal arts education for years. Small private colleges, good location, pretty towns. And then once you get overall education, then you become professional. You go to dental school, medical school, law, and get those degrees, and then. But now they are claiming that first degree perhaps should be engineering for everybody, so that they have the appropriate, well-rounded education. And then they can move. And in the US, you can tell that engineering graduates easily can go to medical school, dental school. They become lawyers because they work on patent law. And they go to MBA in business schools, of course. They are very successful. And many other areas. Academy of Engineering came up with this group of technologies that will be prevalent in 2020 when someone graduates around that time. Biotechnology, I don't have to explain, with tissue engineering, DNA modeling. Of course, nanotechnology, we know that. Material science, information and communication technology, information explosion, radio frequency ID technology, and transportation. These are already well-developed areas in many of the high-tech countries, and job opportunities are going to be in these areas. One thing we noticed when we were looking at this is that these are all quite interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary fields. So when you talk about biotechnology, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, materials engineers, doctors, computer scientists, they all have to work in teams. Same thing is true for nanotechnology. From the name, you can say that maybe double E's may claim ownership, but that's not true, because there's mechanical engineering, there's material science, and many others. Physical infrastructure, the second US data. American Society of Civil Engineers in 2003 graded all the infrastructure in the US, highways, dams, bridges, and their grading were C+ to D-. And Louisiana, New Orleans, was D. And in 2003, civil engineers said something is going to happen in New Orleans, one time or another, and they were right. So now there's a movement to redo some of the highways and bridges and build things in the US. Information and communication infrastructure, this is very scary with the cyber attacks. And some of you may remember the blackouts in the northeast part of the US a few years back. So there's a continuous worry and anxiety that this may happen again. Environment, of course, is new alternative energy, renewable energy, and green design is really shaping up, and it is seeping into universities very quickly now, because industry is asking for it, and I think for the first time, green design, something designed with that in mind, is economically feasible. It was very expensive before. And when the petroleum prices went up, that became prevalent. And interesting, when the petroleum prices go down, all of a sudden interest also drops there. Economy really drives these. The last one is very interesting, assistive technology. There's a big population in the US that are going to be over 65. And as you know, they are now living longer and longer. And a lot of, because of their tradition, cultural tradition, a lot of people in the US, they want to be independent. They really don't want their children, their son-in-law or daughter-in-law, come and help them when they are helpless at home. They would prefer robots do that. They would prefer technology do that, so that they live independent. So Academy is predicting that there will be a lot of opportunities for companies and engineers to develop these kind of things to help older people. When they take the medication, when they walk, when they exercise, when they eat, rather than using human contact. This is what they suggested for green engineering, holistic approach. This holistic approach, the recommendation is do not divide engineering into compartments. Don't say that I'm an electrical engineer, so I don't know anything about materials when you graduate or when we teach. Everything is touched by all engineering, all fields of engineering. So work together in teams, both at the university and outside of the university. And there should be more collaboration among the faculty from different disciplines, engineering, science, mathematics, and computer science. and a number of other items you see here. They predict that the world population will be about 8 billion by 2020. And they predict that 72% of that population will be in Africa and Asia, because birth rate in the US is not high. In Europe, it is fairly constant. Because of that, engineers will be doing work for urban centers. So you can tell in Turkey also, more people are moving to Ankara, Istanbul, Izmir. So solving infrastructure problems of Istanbul and Ankara will become major priority rather than taking services to isolated areas. This will be true for many cities. Youth, they are saying that half the population will be under 18. This is worldwide. And it is important to inspire them, to tell them what they should do, what they should study, and how they should contribute to the rest of the humanity. And the skilled technical workforce, they are saying that will be in Africa and Asia. The need will be there. So they are preparing American engineers. We tell our students that if you have 30, 35 years of productive life as an engineer, part of your life will be in Africa, in Asia. You will not stay in the US. You will not be confined to Europe or South America. And these are the attributes they listed for 2020. Most of these attributes are same about 10 years ago, except the two in the middle, because we always have analytical skills for engineers. We teach them all the calculus, math, physics, practical ingenuity. Well, I just told you that we are all ingenious people as engineers and engineering students. We are very creative. Communication has been stressed in the US very much. They claim that engineers who graduate, they are very good, but they can't speak, they can't write, they can't make a good presentation. That's still important. And ethical standards. You see, of course, more ethical mishaps with the bankers, with the lawyers, with other professions, and engineering profession seems to be quite a bit low there. We are dynamic, and we are really lifelong learners because of necessity. In industry, we have to learn to survive. But two in the middle, business and management, and leadership. Now they are saying that every engineering student, by the time they graduate, they need to understand the business concepts, the cost of project planning and writing proposals, understanding the economy of engineering, and then leadership. This is also important because they will work in teams, and they want the engineers lead the teams because they have better analytical skills, and they are usually smarter because they have better grades. But they are always in the background because they don't want to talk, maybe they don't want to write, and maybe there's a better talker or a better leader in appearance. So now universities are trying to figure out how they can incorporate that into curriculum. This is not a very easy thing to do. You cannot maybe find a class in leadership and ask all engineering students to learn that. I think it has to seep into different courses and in the projects with the teamwork. If it is done, for example, as a project-based learning, where students work in team, one in mechanical engineering, one in civil engineering, one in chemistry, for example, then those kind of skills are developed. And then this is the summary of their finding in the last page. This is again US model. They say that engineer of 2020 should be engineers like Lillian Gilbert. I'm sure industrial engineers know that. She, along with her husband Frank, they were Purdue University professors. They did the time and motion study of automation. They are the first ones who did that study. And Gordon Moore, for non-EE colleagues, he's the one in the 50s predicted that number of components you can put on a chip will double every 6 months, and predicted an exponential curve, and that curve from 1950 still holds. Of course, we know Einstein, Pablo Picasso, and Wright brothers, and everybody knows Bill Gates, and Eleanor Roosevelt, and Martin Luther King. And the last one is quite interesting, our grandchildren. If we can catch up with them, and if we can somehow channel their energy into engineering, I think we'll be better off. Neil Armstrong, first man stepped on the moon. He was a Purdue University graduate, some of you may know. In 2000, when he came to deliver software, this is what he said. He said, I don't care what you say about engineers, changing the image and making them maybe more well-rounded, more refined. I will always be this kind of engineer. Now let me quickly go to ABET. I know that maybe I'm taking a bit longer time. ABET is a not-for-profit entity in the US. It is composed of all engineering societies like electrical engineers, mechanical, industrial, civil, petroleum, mining engineers. And they have a history of all the way to 1932. And now they use the name ABET. There are 4 commissions for ABET. The first one accredits all engineering programs in the US. That's all they do. The other one is technology, engineering technology programs. And then now computer science got into this. Computing accreditation programs, they do computing. And then the last one is fields closer to engineering, not exactly engineering, but they are close and they have applied science. I had the opportunity to serve in the Technology Accreditation Commission, so I visited many universities where technology faculties are there, their programs, and we have one in school. And then the last 4 years I have been doing engineering accreditation visits. ABET accredits programs. They do not, if they come here, they don't care, Atılım University, what School of Business does, Faculty of Business does. They are interested in engineering. And if they are doing electrical engineering, they do not really look at other engineering. It does only program and not department or school or faculty. They do all possible paths of study for students. The purpose is really graduates have minimum standards, and they stimulate the engineering education, and they encourage innovation. In the old days, before 1990, before 2000, they had very prescriptive formula. They would say, you will teach 18 credits of mathematics, 10 credits of physics, so many credits. Now they are saying, those are okay as numbers, but you have to integrate all that, and you have to come up with a innovative. If you want to change your education, entirely engineering education, they are okay with that. You just explain why you're doing it, and justification. Again, it is, its goal is to provide better professionals, engineers. They look at 9 areas. I'm assuming that MUDEC is very similar to this. So they look at students, program objectives, outcomes, curriculum. I have a brief description of those. They look at what kind of students you accept to the university, what kind of high schools they come from, what kind of tests they go through, and what range. And then transfer. Do you accept transfer 2nd year, 3rd year? How is the criteria? And also, when students graduate, do they take different paths? And are all the paths guarded and explained? And well protected. Criterion 2 is educational objectives. These are the things that they look at after graduation, for example, this year. 5 years from now, what do you want them to know, those graduates? So those are objective. For example, if you say, I really want them to be well educated so that they learn the tools so that they can learn new things, lifelong learning, and somehow we have to show that. And then every program has to define outcomes, and those have to match roughly to ABET outcomes. ABET has A, B, C, D, all the way to K, what engineers need to know. These are really before graduation. By the time they graduate and you give them diplomas, they have to be master of those K items. If you have different ones, somehow you have to map those to ABET and show ABET that you accomplish those. Now, in the past, this was a static picture. Now it is dynamic. Now they say, what do you do? Are you sitting still, or are you looking at finding out whether this is working? So what we need to do is we have to measure what we are doing, whether students are learning, whether they are doing well in industry when they graduate. And if they are not, where are the improvements needed, and how we are making the improvements. They say it's okay to find out that in a particular area we were weak, and our students, our graduates said that I did not learn this. Now we have to put a process in place. This is very familiar to industrial engineers. They know this very well. And we put that through the curriculum and through the approval process and put it and document it, show it to ABET. This is what they mean by continuous improvement. So industry says we are doing this to satisfy our customers as Ford, GM, or Archivi, and why not universities? They should do, because they produce these graduates, so they should do continuous improvement as well. Curriculum, of course, this is faculty oriented, and ABET gives guidelines, and the faculty and institution decides what to put in those boxes in terms of curricular components. These are rough guidelines. 1 year of mathematics and science. By 1 year, they mean 16 credits one semester, 16 credits another semester. So 32 hours of mathematics and science. And Atılım has much more than that, like many other Turkish universities. And 1.5 year of engineering topics. This is again, 1.5 year is 48 credits. And again, looking at Atılım curriculum, you have much more than 48 credits of engineering related topics. The last one, they used to say they have to have 18 credits of humanities, social sciences, writing, communication. Now they are leaving it up to the institution. If somehow we can show that we can do it in 6 hours, which is not easy to do, it's okay, but it's usually 15 to 18 credits. And design. Of course, as engineers, we have to convey concept of good design, and we have to show it. Faculty. This is, there's no rule here, like how many faculty should we have in a given program, especially a new program to get ABET accreditation. They don't care about the numbers, but behind the scenes, they are thinking of 5, 6, 7 minimum full-time faculty members in a given program. But how the areas are covered. For example, in a particular mechanical engineering area, there's a thermal area, there's energy area, there's a strengths area. So all those areas has to be covered. So they look at the background of the faculty. Where do they come from? What do they teach? And what kind of courses do you have? And whether those are appropriate faculty members with the appropriate credentials. there are more about faculty. They pay a lot of attention to faculty because when they come, they individually talk to faculty members. 2 weeks ago, I was in North Carolina doing a ABET visit and talked to close to 20 faculty members. ABET tries to find out whether faculty members are involved in the ABET process, in this continuous improvement. If they sense that only the dean and the department chair writes all the documents, and faculty, which I have seen many years ago, faculty says, what ABET? I have never seen it. I don't know what department is doing. Maybe dean is doing himself or herself. So this is a all integrated process because the outcomes has to go all the way to the courses that faculty members teach. They have to measure those and then reflect those measurements to the program objectives and university objectives. So everything has to really fit in a puzzle. So when the visitors come, they would like to see that progression. And they are really encouraging faculty members to go outside of their boundaries. For example, there are close boundaries, electrical and computer, usually quite close. Energy, mechanical, aero, for example, they are quite close. So even teaching those subjects, for example, in North Carolina, we ran into a problem with the civil engineering teaching their own science courses, mathematics courses. ABET says, no, you can't do that. Then say, well, but they don't teach it the way we want it. ABET says, no, that has to be a science course, not civil engineering mathematics, for example, or civil engineering physics. And so there's quite interesting process in the ABET. That's why I think faculty integration, interaction among the departments, among the programs is very important. Facilities, of course, I don't think they should have problems here. They look at the labs, they look at the equipment, they look at whether students have access to computers and computation. And the support, they talk to the president of the university and other administrators whether engineering faculty gets its own share in terms of resources. And usually that's sometimes time for deans to compete and to complain that engineers should get more money. And the last one is specific program criteria. Society of Civil Engineers say, in addition to all these things, I want X, Y, and Z from civil engineers. For example, electrical engineering says that they have to have statistics, they have to have probability in the curriculum. And then mechanical have a different set. Let me finish it with assessment. All this ABET depends on what kind of assessment is being done. How the improvement cycle is set up. And that's where I think connection comes when we say we want to educate engineer of 2020, how can we achieve that? And I'm convinced that ABET or MUDEC is a way to put the innovation through. With, of course, faculty faculty needs to be convinced because they are the agents in the classroom to give that material, to teach those materials. This is the definition of quality improvement. And ABET usually asks, what are you graduating? Who are they for? Is it for their parents? Or industry, or government, or all of the above. And once they don't care which ones you choose, but then you have to show that your curriculum and your improvement are geared towards that. And measurement is very important. This is one of the tough things as faculty members, especially, we are quite independent and we love our field and we think we do very well. And when I teach signals and systems in electrical engineering, I really don't want anyone to interfere in telling me that I should not teach X, Y, or Z, or I should include other things. But once the assessment process starts, outcomes assessment, once I see when the student comes as a freshman, graduate, what they need to know, once we agree on that, how that is achieved becomes very clear. Then I say, okay, maybe in the second year, we should not teach Laplace transform, or we should teach Laplace transform, or we should enforce it. So then becomes give and take. Then I'm okay if they take part of the course from me and put it in another place. So we have to see the whole picture there as faculty members. And also, like any faculty group, I think some of our faculty members are better in presenting certain materials, and they have either better training or they have done that more often. So then collaboration starts that way. And then there, of course, connection to industry advisory boards, alumni, and students are important. These are again telling the difference, what we have done in the past before and what we are doing now. I think probably I'll stop here and open it up for question that may be more interesting than the rest of the presentation. I'm just explaining some of the terminology here. What is assessment? What is evaluation? I would be happy to leave these with Dr. Akai if anyone is interested in the details. Dr. Akai, when he was with us in our school, he was considered as the ABET, one of the ABET gurus. He knew what outcomes assessment was. And it was mechanical engineering was the best department that knew how to do that. Somehow he was able to convince his faculty to intimately get involved in the ABET process. And that shows the visitors know and understand. Usually ABET says every program can do their own. They can choose their own rubrics, measurements they want to do. But in engineering faculty, usually we try to agree on things, certain things, so that we do certain things in common. And then civil engineering does a little bit more in one area or another area. As I said earlier, program objectives and outcomes assessment go all the way to learning objectives. And now it became a culture in many universities in the US, in engineering schools. Every course that we teach, and Hassan was a leader in the mechanical engineering, you put learning objectives there. What do you expect students to learn at the end of semester from this circuits course or dynamics course? And once those are clear, then it is perhaps easier to find rubrics and how to measure that. And people do it differently, and there's enormous amount of materials available all in the US, and I'm sure in some European universities. And here, a lot of universities went through MUDEC here already, so that is available. So to conclude, I think engineers are very vital, and I believe that engineers should be everywhere. There are only few in the US Parliament. I don't know how many there are in the Turkish Parliament, but we should have more of them. And they should participate more in everyday life. Globalization is crucial. There's no need to explain that. But engineering education has to change. US is aware of that because they are all of a sudden saying that we are all getting only right-brain people. So I'm going and recruiting engineers who look like me. Okay? And there are a lot of left brain students. They go to arts, they go to music, but they have talent in engineering. They can be engineers, for example. It's just a matter of finding out what they are thinking, how they are thinking, and try to bring them. How do you recruit more women, more minorities from different diverse groups, and make engineering again like it has been in Turkey and in a few other countries. And I think ABET is one of the tools to improve the engineering, because all the tools are set up there, vehicles are there. I'm sure there are other ways, but ABET will be very helpful. And it can give that kind of reasoning to university administration and our profession, saying that we are doing this because of ABET. And I'm pleased to take questions if you have.
First, we would like to thank you. Time for questions. Türkçe'de sorabilirsiniz. Türkçe veya İngilizce. Buyurun.
Thank you very much for this beneficial talk. I just wonder what is the effect of green, the term green, on the curriculum of engineering programs in the US?
Sure. The ones that I know, they go to civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and materials engineering. They use those quite often. When you give projects to students, for example, third-year, fourth-year projects, faculty members lecture about green design. For example, what Germany does in green design, some European countries. And then they put that question to students. What is the impact on ecology, what you're doing? And so they have to go and investigate. So it is very preliminary yet, but there are some universities, they have green design courses parallel to the regular design courses that students take. I did not talk in detail about technology faculty. In many universities, technology faculty do more on this because their curriculum is a bit more flexible. It is applied, and they are able to bring some other fields like geology, for example, because some of those areas do not have mathematical rigor that engineering sometimes requires. And sometimes our faculty feel that maybe if it doesn't have 17 differential equations, that may not be worthy of our students to study. So it has to be a bit more interdisciplinary. And there's also government side of it. There are programs, for example, studying SPIA programs, public government regulation, because all these green design and ecological things has to go through regulatory process, and they need to know the rules and regulations in the government bodies.
Please, yeah.
Do you think that such concepts, such issues are going to be one of the factors in accreditation process in the future, not now maybe?
I think it will, because I think it will, because ABET is already looking into that. In 2011, 2012, some of those will be part of the criteria. And it's also important for recruiting younger students, because some of those students, surprisingly in the US, they don't want to come to engineering because of the public relations. They think that scientists are the one who can save the planet. They think that a biologist or a chemist is on their side, not an engineer. They think that engineers pollute, but they don't clean up. So they go to biology and they go to chemistry because they think they will clean up the environment and they will do more good for humanity. So when we recruit engineers, students, they ask those kind of questions. Can I take green courses? We say, well, we don't have any courses right now, but we say, well, we have internship programs during summer. We will send you to Germany for a green tour, for example. And there are companies and organizations around the city that can work. I think it is becoming more of a demand now in the US in many places. Of course, where I worked, it is not terribly progressive in terms of green design, because I'm in the Rust Belt in India, where automotive industry has been very heavy. That starts from cost, as you know, from California. But now it is becoming economic necessity, and I think somehow ABET will put that because industry is pressuring them.
Any more questions? Yes.
Amerika'da ABET akreditasyonu alan program oranı nasıldır acaba? Yani her program ABET akreditasyonu alıyor mu? Alma şeyini kadar yüzdesi oranlıdır. Yüzdesi. O konuda bir şeyler söyleyelim.
Müracaat edenlerin %70'ine 70 civarında olanlar tam full 6 yıllık akreditasyon alıyorlar. Her şey iyiyse 6 yıl veriliyor. Eğer böyle problemler varsa o zaman 2 yıl veriyorlar. 2 yıl sonra biz bir daha geri çalışıyorlar. Veya 3 yıl veriyorlar. 3 yıl sonra şu şeyleri düzeltin, bize bir rapor yazın deniyor. Ve %30 6 yıldan azalan o %30 şey, onlar da bu continuous improvement'tan oluyor. Curriculum yerinde, kuvvetli laboratuvarları var, isim var, üniversitenin güzel ismi var. Fakat bu proses yok, continuous proses yok. Bir türlü o kurulmamış mesela veyahut da yapılmamış. Kurulmuş da data alınmamış, takip edilmemiş veya loop kapanmamış. Data almışlar ama hiçbir şey yapmamışlar o konuda. Bütün ABET onların yapılmasını istiyor, doküman konmasını istiyor. Fakat ABET'te hiç girmeyen, ben ABET'i tanımıyorum, ne yaparlarsa yapsın diyen üniversiteler var, 1-2 tane. 2000 yılına kadar MIT mesela girmezdi böyle şeylere. Benim kendi şeyim var, benim standartlarım diye. Fakat bu yeni kriterler endüstriden geldi. Boeing, onlar mesela dediler, biz mühendisin böyle olmasını istiyoruz deyince, o zaman onlar da yaptılar, girdiler için. Çünkü var, oradan paralar geliyor, araştırma, mühendisler orada çalışıyor. Onun için neredeyse %99'u mühendislik eğitimi veren üniversiteler hepsi ABET'e girerler. Buyurun.
Do you have any chance to compare the ABET and the European accreditation organization, which has the shortage name EMAEE, European Network of Accreditation?
Yes. Unfortunately, I do not know enough about the European system. What ABET does, I'm sure you are familiar, they recognize, for example, the British accreditation system, Canadian or Japanese, and now Turkish, for example. And they say that there's an agency that is doing that on our behalf. So they recognize that Mexico has been doing that. But a lot of other universities in Europe, they still invite ABET from the US, because when they put that, that's good for student recruitment outside of the country, because then students say, oh, this university is close to the US. I think the ABET people and engineering people in the US, they do not pay enough attention to European system. They think Europeans will turn around and become like them. Unfortunately, they don't. But probably that will be an awakening for them as well. Also, European universities, some of them now are changing the curriculum, making a US style. I think Germany has done that, Britain is doing that. So, not knowing enough about the European system, it's hard for me to comment on that.
Is there another question?
I have two questions. First one is, have you ever visited a university outside the US for accreditation? And the second is, you said 70% of the universities in the US get accredited. Do you have similar statistics for non-domestic accreditation?
I don't, but I can get them because they are on ABET website, most of them. I have not visited other
information, but they don't have the statistics.
I can get them, and I will be happy to convey them to Dr. Akai when I return to US. As an ABET evaluator, I will have an access to some of those. I have not done accreditation outside of US. You have to do a number of times in US before you are eligible to do that. But I have, during my administration tenure, I have gone to many countries and talked about ABET because many universities were getting ready for ABET. And I did that in Malaysia, I did it in China, and in 2000 I had an opportunity to do that with Matthew, with Istanbul Technical University, Yeditepe, and others. But not as official ABET visitor as maybe ABET talker.
No, I think you mentioned that industry has a lot to say how the curriculum should be set at the engineering school. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the way that in the US universities use industry, like industry advisory boards, and how common that is, and what are the benefits of it?
Sure.
Well, how does ABET consider that also?
Sure. When we go to ABET visit, some visitors are from the university and some from industry. During my last visit to North Carolina, I was teaming with the computer engineering visitor. And I did electrical engineering, and he was from industry. He had a small company in Texas and was producing chips for electronic game industry. So as we look at student folders and as we talk to faculty members, his approach was quite different. His definition of design is very different than mine. He looks at the real world problems and he asks students different kinds of questions. So ABET is very keen that there's an industry view and there's industry input in the process. So US universities, they have external advisory board for the whole university, which may be composed of all prominent people, but they are from different walks of life, different disciplines, and different. And then Faculty of Engineering usually does have an industry advisory board. They are usually the CEOs of engineering companies, again in the area or in the region. They meet 2 to 4 times a year, and number change from 10 to 30, 40. In our case, we had close to 35 members, but only 20 would show up at any given time because of their commitment. We would not pay anything to them. It's a voluntary for them. All we had to do was buy good lunch or a dinner when they come. But we always presented what school is doing to them. And we brought our faculty members from different areas. There are star faculty, for example, they are doing good research. And department chairs made presentations to them, talked about their departments. And they would listen, and of course they look at everything from 25,000 feet. They would ask questions, why are you teaching this or why are you doing that? Very general questions. And then we have another level where departments have industry advisory committees. They are smaller in size, maybe 5 to 10, and they meet a bit more often. And those are engineers, managers. They may not be CEOs of the company, but the director of engineering, for example, or manager of engineering. Those people are most useful for the curriculum with the students. They know what course is being taught. Some of them actually come and teach because they have their management experience, engineering experience. And we find them very useful for direct input like that. And also we use them because we want our students to work for them during summer. And we want them to work for them when they graduate. And they like it because they know some of those students before they graduate. So they come to recruit those students. And if we send a few good students, then they become our customers. Then we can call them anytime. We can say, John, we need $10,000 for this lab. Can you help us? We need equipment. We need to place our students. We need our faculty. Can we send our faculty this summer to work with you on a project? So there is that kind of interaction. What we do is we all document these with the meeting minutes and who comes and the titles and the experience of those people. And when ABET comes, they look at those folders and they see the connection. So these people are one of our constituency groups for our students. We say that we prepare them for these people and their organizations. And you had a very successful board, right, over the years. Sometimes at the department level, they're committed. We steal them, take them to the faculty level, so that they serve there. And then the rector steals them from the faculties because they become more popular, and also they become CEO of the company. When they do that, of course, they become a university danışman rather than faculty.
Any more questions? In that case, we thank you for time for us to give you a tip and